but interesting story of two friends, Sharmaji and Varmaji. They both go on a daily routine morning walks together. One fine day, Sharmaji did not join the walk. So Varmaji rang him up to know the reason for their miss. Sharmaji informed him that his wife was unwell since last night and he had to stay back to take care of her. Varmaji, out of the concern, immediately suggested him some good physicians in the town and also volunteered to accompany them. Such a beautiful example of a society, of Indian society, where we give support and seek help. On the contrary, few days later, when Varmaji missed their walk, Sharmaji went straight away to the Varmaji's home, and to his shock, he first time felt unwelcome in the home. There was pin drop silence in the family. Sharmaji seemed to be very amazed by seeing this condition. Varmaji's family was in a hurry to send Sharmaji's back home, and that was very astonishing for him. Do you know what is the reason? Last night, Varmaji's son had a massive maniac episode at home. And due to the stigma attached to it, the shame and judgment attached to it, they don't want to disclose this illness of their son to anybody. They wanted to zip. Hi, I'm Dr. Shradha Malik. Though I'm a doctor by education, I'm an entrepreneur at heart and a mental health advocate at soul. So today in my talk, we're going to talk about mental health and its perceptions. Let's face it, nobody wants to talk about mental health. The subject is a taboo, often hidden in the shadows, because of which it has become a huge stigma and adverse perceptions attached to it. Stigma that is very scary and uglier for the person experiencing it. Let me pick one example, a tough example of one of the stigmas that prevail in our society, LGBTQ community. Coming out of the closet has been the biggest challenge for this community. But study shows accepting being a gay is far easier than accepting having a mental illness. This perception is everywhere, in our thought process, in our behavioral patterns, and in the life choices we make. The mentally ill patients are portrayed as dangerous to us, thanks to our movies. They have shown a typical depiction of a mentally ill patient as violent, who can harm anybody without a reason. And this notion has shaped treatment practices for years to keep these patients chained, tamed, and isolated. If any of our family member is suffering from a mental illness, they are being isolated. They are being not introduced to the guest coming at our home. That is the stigma attached to it. We have often seen people wandering on the streets. Who are these people? These are those who have been suffering from mental illnesses, and their families have rejected them, thrown them on the streets to live an unsafe and an unhealthy situations. Even the society perceives them being possessed by evil spirits. A psychotic patient generally talks to themselves, make muttering noises. So family who are not that psycho-educated to identify the mental illness, they think they are possessed. The family take them to the Maulvis, to the Babas, to the priest to get rid of that evil spirit. In reality, these are minor psychotic symptoms that could have been treated with medicines and therapies. Another perception. 40.2% of the rural population living in the villages, 33.3% population living in the urban areas, cities like us, and 7.9% professionals believe that mental illness is untreatable. Let me tell you what is untreatable. When a patient gets into any kind of minor psychotic illnesses. The family is unable to recognize because of lack of awareness, lack of psychoeducations. That delays the treatment. And when they are able to recognize, the stigma, the adverse perception associated with mental illness act as a barrier to the treatment, which further deteriorates their conditions. And they become treatment resistant. And this adds fuels to the belief that mental illness is untreatable. Another example, the men must be familiar about it. Men don't cry. Men don't show their emotions. And this leads to development of unhealthy coping mechanism among men, like they get into substance abuses. They show high risking behaviors. They go into violence. They go into aggression. Did you know men are more prone to depression? Men are more prone to anxiety. They are more prone to PTSD. The suicide rates are 3 times more in men than women. Recent example of the sad demise of Mr. Nitin Desai, Sushant Singh Rajput. And to add fuel to it, few of the social media influencers, they say depression जैसा कुछ नहीं होता है, ये तो कोई बीमारी ही नहीं होती है, इसका कोई टेस्ट ही नहीं होता है. Seriously? Did they even bother to do a little research on this sensitive topic before influencing such a large set of population? This is not a movie review that they are doing. Statistics shows 200 million population of India is suffering from some or the other mental illness. You know which counts to? 10 times of the Australian population, 6 times of the UK population, 60% of the USA population. Such are the numbers, so big. In 2 years, the psychiatric cases are up by 38% in paramilitary forces. This data is from MHA, Ministry of Home Affairs. And people still say there is no mental illness. There is no thing like depression. So what do we need to change the perception? Accept. Acceptance is the key. This is the first step towards it. And the step has to begin from the family. Even the society is not sparing the doctors. The psychiatrists are called paglon ka doctor. They are getting so much difficulty in getting married. If I ask people sitting over here, name some mental illnesses, you might quickly jump into anxiety, depression. 2 names. Trust me, the condition is much worse. Schizophrenia, OCD, addiction, this all causes severe disability. According to WHO, the disability caused by a mental illness surpasses the disability caused by a physical illness, like anybody having a heart problem or a cancer. Yet cancer patients can proudly wear the badge of a cancer survivor. But a mentally ill patient who has overcome the struggles of mentally ill, they cannot do the same because of the shame, because of the judgments of all of us. Thanks to few sports persons like Simone Biles, she has withdrew herself from the ongoing Olympics to concentrate on her mental health. Prince Harry, he has come forward and shared his decade-long battle with grief and trauma. And these voices encourages the young generation to come out and open and talk about their mental health. We have seen in the Indian context the celebrities like Deepika Padukone talking about depression, Honey Singh talking about bipolar disorder, and many more. Even the OTT platforms, if you have noticed, are touching the points of mental health. Web series like Freddy, Kala, Breathing in the Shadows, Hit, all are touching the points of mental health. Best example is the example of Boston Logan Airport that has displayed a physical installation for everybody who walks through to read it, to deconstruct the stigma associated with mental health. So what we need? we need to talk more and more about mental health. Like you and me need to talk about. So next time, when you see a random, uncommon person standing on the road, behaving uncommonly, illogically, don't flash your camera on them and make their act viral. Stop your judgment for a while and think he might be suffering from some or the other mental illness that he doesn't have an insight. In the end, I would like to leave you with a thought. If you or your loved one was suffering from any form of the mental illness, should you shy away from seeking a professional help, or you will be away because of people's perception? Thank you, everybody. I wish you all well.